Hi everyone, Lensman Oz here, and welcome to episode 6 of my Modular Mayhem Let's Play series. Today I thought I would start with showing you how I got my blaze powder, which I said I was going to do in the last episode, so I could make these blast bricks, which you can see here. I've got my 14 blaze powder that I required, and the 14 of each bricks and nether bricks in the pattern here. So that gives us the required number of blast bricks, and I did that by instead of fighting blazes or any of that sort of stuff, using the magma crucible and the fluid transposer. So magma crucible here, nether bricks, invar, redstone coil, and redstone energy cell, and the what was it again? The fluid transposer. Pretty easy patterns, nothing too, at least these ones in this pack aren't changed like they were in the last pack I played. But involves putting glowstone in here, a piece of glowstone, and then 2 redstone in here per glowstone in this one, and it gives you blaze. So that gives me the blast bricks that we require. So I was going to set that up. It's a bit of a graphical bug with this texture pack. Yeah, they're actually full of, or almost full of creosote oil. So let's just set this up here. Oops. Right, and get our engineer's hammer out. Bang. Right, so this will only run on coal coke, and we need some iron, which I have not a lot of, and this will very slowly turn iron into steel, and we'll need steel for most of engineering stuff, so we'll let that go, and that'll take a little while. Next, one of the things that Iskandar left a comment on one of my videos, if you've seen the comments, he said about Magneticraft having its own ore doubling setup in the case of things, the ore for the Magneticraft, what is it, tungsten. Apparently all you do is, I don't know if these ones work. Just grab one of each of these. I don't know whether it will work, but you just right click with it in your inventory and it turns it into chunks. So depending on what ore it is, depends on the number of chunks, I believe, but it's one way to double manually. It's just a case, yeah, you're just hitting it with this stone hammer. Right, so see some of the stuff in my inventory, and you probably saw it in the video just before. I have set up Steve's cart wheat farm over here. So, ready to sleep. So I've set up this farm already because I had to re-familiarise myself with Steve's carts. And what I will do is I've set up this bit here. I'm going to do a bit of a basic tree farm. So I'll walk you through what we need to do with that, and I'll explain what I've done here. Now this cart, here has both a solar engine and a coal engine, and it basically, if I want, I can put anything that's burnable in there, and it will use it as fuel. Otherwise, it'll only work during the day, which is fine. You can see here it's coming down and picking up the wheat, and then it deposits it in here. Alright, you can see it just unload then. And then I've got some pipes under the ground here, and it comes down to these couple of barrels. Now, I'd already set up the ones here for the tree farm, and don't know whether this is working. I threw this in here just to test it. It didn't work with the hemp seeds. It didn't like them, but thought I'd give it a go, see what happens. So pretty much this is a very basic setup. It's just with the basic farmer that's on there, it'll only do one out from the track. And I probably could gain one back by taking these torches out of here. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just put that there and these two. So under here we have an infinite water. We have an infinite water unit from Magneticraft. Infinite. There's this thing here. So that's 4 stained glass, 4 buckets, and a machine housing. Machine housing is just 4 carbide, 4 iron, and stone. Carbide is that tungsten surrounded by coal. That gives you 8. So fairly cheap, really. And yeah, it's just an aqueous accumulator that doesn't require stuff around it, really. And on top of that, I put this tank just to give it a bit of a buffer and to be able to dispense water to the sprinkler. I don't think the infinite water thing was working quite well. And then I just put some water here to make sure that this stays hydrated. So this is alright. Seems to be working well. And we've got a bit over a stack, almost 2 stacks there. So in this cart, the only things I added were the farmer, and I have added a fertilizer, but I haven't actually put anything in it. I may get to the point where I start putting fertilizer in here and having it put itself into the machine itself. These are fairly easy to make, really. It's very time consuming. So let's have a look here. Just quickly run through this. Now, I've done some upgrades to this table. Now, underneath here is the cart assembler, which if you look, cart assembler. Pretty basic pattern itself, 4 stone, 3 iron, and then these 2 simple PCBs, which are gold, iron, and redstone. And that makes a cart assembler. Now, without these upgrades that I've done here, it takes a really, really long time and uses a lot of coal, and it will only accept coal. I believe the original one would take Railcraft coal coke, but for some reason it doesn't want to take the immersive engineering one, which is a bit disappointing. But pretty much this one on the front, this generic engine upgrade, this one here, allows standard fuel sources and it adds an extra 5% cost, but enables you to use wood, or still doesn't use coal coke, the immersive engineering coal coke, but it can then use what was I using? There was a sulfur or something I think I was using as well, and it can be placed in here and added to the fuel level. So I can put no, might not be able to use saplings. No, it's gone. 2891. So yeah, so it is using saplings there. It's just a bit of a graphical thing. And the other thing I added was this CO2 friendly upgrade on top, which takes 15% fuel cost away. So we're getting a 10% saving with the 5% added for the generic fuel, but I thought, why not? It doesn't speed it up at all. It's still going to take, as you can see up here, 31 minutes to make this next car. Which actually it's going to be more than that if I put this in. 46 minutes. And that's 46 minutes of real time. It's not 46 minutes of game time. It's 46 real minutes. So it's not a very complex car. And I've added probably more storage than it requires. So if I take one of these out, oh yeah, you can save a bit of time, but I just wanted to put that in there just in case it gets really really full on with the wood, because this one's going to be a wood cutter, and I'll walk you through these parts. Change the door. I don't know if I like it still. So I don't know if I can do this here. No. So standard hull. Standard hull here is just 5 iron and then sticks around a piece of iron for each set of wheels. A tree. Is it? Alright. 4. This one here, wood cutting core, is an advanced PCB surrounded by saplings. Advanced ones, 2 of the simples, some redstone and some iron. That gives us the core, and then the actual basic wood cutter is one of those cores, iron and 5 saw blades. And saw blades are diamonds and 2 iron, so again a little expensive but worth it. So wood cutter. Storage is these ones here. Chest lock, iron and stone. Chest panes, wood with 2 logs, gets 32 of them. And the other thing I've put on here is an advanced smelter, which is a smelter, which is furnace and PCB. And the advanced one is diamond and these other PCBs with it. And the reason I put this in here is because that will allow the cart to take the wood that it harvests and turn it into charcoal to be able to use it in its own engine, just to keep it going without having to add more fuel. So this will, as I said, take 46 minutes. I think that's all I want to put in. I was going to put a solar one, but I found that in a tree farm it gets blocked a lot because the leaves grow over the top of the cart and it blocks it, so there's no point. And I don't believe I need to put any other attachments in here. Really, when you do a tree farm one, it doesn't, I don't think it needs the hydrating or fertilizing or any of that sort of stuff. So fairly basic, but still requires a lot of time to make. I'm going to hit assemble. You'll see here that it's really quickly using up the fuel. And as I said, it's going to take 46 minutes. I'm not hanging around for that. So what I might do is I might do a cut here, and I'll play for 46 minutes so that I can come back and show you guys how I set up my tree farm. So I'll be back in a tick, and I'm back. It has not been the full amount of time yet. It's been about 10 minutes or so, but I just realised that I didn't explain how I'd gotten rid of all the liquid ender. Or yeah, pretty sure liquid ender. So in here, notice there's a resonant ender. Sorry, 155 buckets of resonant ender in a drum, and I pumped that out using something new. Pretty sure it's new in the latest immersive engineering, which is fluid pumps. Now, this is it here, nifty little block. Its recipe is 3 fluid pipes, 1 mechanical component, 3 iron. Fluid pipes are just 4 iron ingots, and 3 of the sheet metal, which is some iron around the hammer. And the mechanical component is very simple, copper and some iron. It's a very simple recipe, and it's a little bit squirrely to set up. But one of the cool things it does is it's very similar to the endothermic pump from Ender.io, or no, from, what's it called again? Extra Utilities, sorry. So many mods. So the endothermic pump is disabled in this pack, but you've now got this one we can use. So this pump here is just gonna sleep through the night. I'll show you how it works, but it's a fairly big unit, and you can see here that there's no inputs or outputs on it, except for on the top where you can see the power input. Come on. So very simply, on the top, you'd put your power connector. I'm not 100% sure whether it has a limit to how much power goes in, but it's pretty much you'd come up and you'd put this into the liquid. I don't really have anything I want to pump out at the moment, but you put it into the liquid. So say I came over here and I would place it in here, and it doesn't need to be down the bottom or anything like that. You could put it in the corner sort of thing, as long as it's the one body of water. And so your water would come up to this level here. Now what you do is you get your hammer and you turn one of them into an input, and then you turn another one into an output, and on the output you put your pipe, and you run that pipe to whatever vessel you want to pump it into, and then it needs a redstone signal, so a lever or a pretty much a lever or a redstone torch, and it'll pump. It can be used to speed up stuff through the pipe work, and there's a few other bits and pieces, but I pretty much stuck it in here, in these big pools that I had here, and I pumped them out into that drum. And yeah, when it pumps it out, it replaces it with cobblestone, so you don't get any lag or anything, which is great. But very awesome. I'm quite impressed with it. The mod developer's done a really good job there. And one of the other things they've added in is tanks, I think it is. Let's have a look, see if I've got my book on me. I do. They've also added tanks and silos. So you now have sheet metal tanks, which seem pretty straightforward, and they're fairly cheap, because this is, if you remember, it's just iron and some wooden fences. And so you've got tank here, which will hold 512 buckets worth, which is a fair amount. And then you've got a silo here which will hold items, 41,000 items worth. So they are multi-blocks, but in the spirit of the pack, that's fantastic. So if I wanted to, instead of having these little tanks here, which are Magneticraft tanks, which are in here somewhere, not the pressure tank. So in here, the fluid tank, 4 copper, 4 glass, gives me 2 of them. And then I just pulled it out with a transfer node, so that you can see in the tooltip that's 16 millibuckets, so 16 buckets and then 11.5. Sorry about that. And so yeah, I was considering maybe putting one of those tanks behind here that will pump the creosote into, just, I don't know, for visual sake. So you can see here that this says I've now got 10 steel. That's just been cooking along. And while I was in between the gap there, I did a bit of mining, just grabbed a few more resources. Bit of iron, bit of copper. Nothing amazing, but I figured why not. Just trying to kill some time, and while waiting, you know, the big chunk of time that I've got to wait for this. And yeah, I did say in the last bit that coal coke doesn't work. It does actually. Once you put that upgrade on, this generic engine upgrade, once that's on, the coal coke does work again. And so far I've put a fair chunk of coal coke in here just to keep it going, and we're still only 37% through. So I'm going to put the steel away for the moment, because I don't want to use that yet. And yeah, I just thought I'd show you the tanks. the pump. Yeah, as I said, pretty impressed with it. It's the model's excellent. I love it. All the immersive engineering modeling is pretty good. So, the other thing I've done in between episodes is I've added the lumberjack enchant to my axe. I made a new axe. So the previous episode I had the flint axe. I've now made a supercharged topaz axe, and I've added the lumberjack. Oops, helps if I can spell. The lumberjack enchant. So 4 golden axes, one of those tokens, and then 2 paradots. And that just allows, I won't chop that one down, that just allows, same thing as the, whichever axe it was in Tinker's Construct, the ability to chop an entire tree down. One of the cool things with it is that when it's chopping down a full tree, it drops to about 20% of its speed, right? But if it's not chopping down a tree, it works just like normal. So I can use it to chop planks or anything wood that you've placed, and it won't chop the entire amount down. So tree with leaves on top, very slow. Takes a while to chop down. Wood, no time at all. So very cool. The Silence Gems mod author also does a YouTube pack, a let's play of this pack, and discusses the changes he makes to his mod as well, the Silence Gems mod, or their mod. I'm not sure how many of them do that one, but that was quite interesting to watch as well. So I'm going to cut again and wait for this to happen. So for you, it'll be a tick. For me, it's 26 minutes. So I'll be right back. And I'm back, and it's ready finally. So here's the cart, and I thought we'd just bring it out here. I'm hoping it doesn't take this tree out, but if it does, you know, that happens. So basically, the system works around the cargo manager, and I can't remember if I told you about the cargo manager before. Cargo manager uses these iron panes. So to make each of these, the huge ones are 9 of the iron panes. The large ones are 4. The iron panes are iron surrounded by those chest panes. It's got chest panes by those chest panes from earlier, and then you've got this dynamic one in the middle, which is just redstone around, surrounded by dynamic panes, which is another bit of redstone and an iron pane. So a lot of iron, but you need one of these to do that. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure you need one. It's not going to work otherwise. The other thing you need is the rail here, the advanced detector rail, and that is made thusly. Advanced. Probably staring straight at it. Detect, there we go. Iron, pressure plates, redstone gets you 2, so that's the 2 either side here. And it just enables the cart to stop at the cargo manager. So if I put this down, you see he's not going anywhere. Oh, there he goes. I think I kicked him. Move you. So he's not going to do anything until 1, I give him some fuel, and 2, give him some saplings. So let's grab a stack of saplings, and I better get some coal. I'll grab 1 sapling. So used to, you got shift for some and not shift for others. So if I grab, let's say half a stack of coal, that should last a long time. And let's grab a stack of trees or saplings. I'll come down here, and I've already got some in him. That's birch. So I wanted to try to see whether it'll do chromatic craft saplings. No. Oh well, worth a try. I wonder if it'll chop it down if I put it next to it. So I'm gonna try that. I don't. Yeah, look, this isn't touching this either. So that's a bust. Worth a try. Right, so if I go and put the coal in this guy, that'll get him working. Before I do, you can see, remember the advanced smelter that I put in? What this enables me to do is change where to put what it's smelting. So at the moment, if I say all sorts engine, if I say go to the engine, but I only want you to do 64. So I want it to always keep 64 charcoal in the engine. So it'll smelt up what it's got in its internal storage. As long as there's 64 in there, it'll just leave it as it is. And then we'll get wood, but we'll also get charcoal. So in this goes, and that'll start planting. I'm hoping that it doesn't chew through that, but you can see it uses a fair amount. These are repairable, as you can see here. Repair this tool with diamonds. So to repair that, back here, you put a diamond in this slot and it'll repair its durability. Let's have a look at this guy. So he's hardly moved at all. Same thing, repair him with diamonds. If you look here, he's going to come around and he's going to plant. Let's try this. I want to see what happens. Right. Bone meal it up. See if it chops it down. Pretty much, it's going to come back and dump anything it needs to out of the cart into here. But as it goes around, it's actually going to pick the saplings up and put them in here itself. Any extras are going to go into the internal storage. So what I need to do here is I need a piece of wood. I need to tell it to smelt wood into charcoal and put the resultant charcoal into the engine. You can see there, place that charcoal in the engine. It smelted the piece of wood I put in here. Here we go, let's see how he goes. Okay, he should come up here and he should chop this tree down. And while he's doing so, he'll be getting wood, he'll be getting saplings, and then he'll plant a new one. And that's it. Hopefully it's fairly self-sustainable. I will need to put another barrel in for the coal or the charcoal. It shouldn't make too much. Actually, I won't because it shouldn't overfill itself. It shouldn't make more than it needs. Yeah. So that's the Steve's Carts Farms setup. This is how I'm going to do at least these two farms. This thing really does need to be supplemented or have a better. It's not really doing well with its solar. I don't know why, it's out in the open. So I do every now and then come over and put some coal in it, but I only put a tiny coal engine in that one. I didn't feel it needed, because it was just like a backup. I only put the tiny coal engine. You see there, I had the one slot. This one here has a normal one which has 3 slots. And what's cool is you can set priorities of each of the engines. So in the case of this one, I've accidentally just disabled the coal engine. If I put it on low priority, it'll use this stuff before it uses this stuff when it's in there, of course. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. I might grab a little bit of bone meal And just see if I can get that chromatograph tree to grow. Just as a test. I won't leave it there because I've seen before they drop dyes and they drop all sorts of stuff, but interesting to see. Oh. Oh. Well, there we go. Now it looks like it took the wood, but it didn't pick up any of the saplings and it didn't pick up any of the berries and that. Did you pick up an apple? That's it. And that wood. So I'm just going to throw that in there for now. So take the apple. I may need a barrel for apples. It's quite possible. So I'll look into that. I'll make a there we go, another barrel. Let's give it a bit of a kick along. For apples in between episodes. Oh, there we go. And hopefully it won't get backlogged if I do that. Alright. That's my farms. Something basic, but effective. Alright. If you like the episode, please give it a like. If you think I've done something a bit skew-if or I could do it a bit better, please let me know. I accept all the comments. And I'm I guess a little humbled by the fact that the pack creator is pretty much the first person to comment on each of my videos. So I do thank you, Iskandar, pointing me in the right direction each time, and I guess telling me where I derp, which is exactly what I want the comments for. So thanks to anyone who has commented so far. Thanks for the likes. I do appreciate everything, and I do read and try and respond to every comment I get. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks a lot.